How's it going? What's going on YouTube? Alex here. Welcome back to yet another episode of JOU-NBCM Vlogs. Today we're here to talk about the people of Changchun. So without any further ado, let's roll that intro and I'll see you in a second. So welcome back. As I was just saying, today we're here to talk about the very people that make this place what it is today. So the locals. One of the things I really had never thought about before coming here was what the local community really like. And to be honest, after all these years, I was wrong. I should have really thought about it. So here I am to tell you everything that you need to basically know in order to minimize the amount of surprising things that you will encounter once you come here. So let's get started. Number one of the most important things that you need to talk. I lost it. Cut. Alright then, so number one, that is the most important thing that you need to know. Thank you, I got it, finally. Is that they are incredibly helpful and relatively honest. Now, relatively honest doesn't sound very good. Let me kind of explain this. You know, well, if you are one of those Western people, you live in a Western country, or you have any sort of experience with Westerners, you will know that we are great at talking into thin air without actually meaning anything. Hey, so nice to see you. Haven't seen you in 2,000 years. Why don't we catch up tomorrow? We should definitely do something. That's about it. Doesn't mean anything. Hey, wow, you look so beautiful. I'm blind, I can't even see you anyway. So many empty words that are being said without putting any thoughts to them, because that's part of our culture. Here, you don't have that. When a Changchun person says, hey, let's meet up tomorrow, they actually mean it. Hey, let me help you out in 2 days time at whatever, 2 o'clock, they mean it. So there is this confusion between Westerners and the locals, because for us, it's one of those things that, yeah, of course, that's it. Next minute, I already would have forgotten about everything that was said just a minute ago. With them, however, it is a plan. They've actually set a plan. So I've happened to be on the receiving end quite a few times when I was just going with the flow, not really thinking too much. Then I got phone calls or text messages reminding me of something that we've actually agreed on with certain people that I didn't even remember. So number one thing, they are incredibly helpful, very, very helpful people, especially when it comes to learning about the local culture, heritage, history. They are very proud people as well. So they will love to show off, show you around, help you with your linguistic skills. And most importantly, when they say something in terms of making plans ahead, they will actually mean it. Now, with all that said, however, this is how far the positives go. And before I start ranting about these guys, I need to tell you that I personally really like them, and despite all the things that I'm about to tell you, I still believe that they are very nice. Not everyone, clearly, I'm pretty sure you're aware that wherever you will go, there will always be people who are just ridiculous, and so whatever. You may be able to avoid them or not. anyway, it's up to you who you make kind of friends or best buddies with. So this place is no different. There are many people who are just ridiculous, and there are many people who are very, very nice. You may click even better or more or less. It's obviously a subjective thing, and you won't know anything about it until you come here. So let's get started. Number one thing that is also a very interesting and surprising thing at the same time, something that comes from their culture and the way they are brought up. There is this certain what we call me first mindset here. This basically means that these guys have been raised and have been living their lives based on certain principles. Number one, they have to be the best, but not the best that they can possibly be, but overall they have to simply just be the best, better than anybody else at everything. Now, if you really think about that, the only way that you can be the best is if you really are on top of every single situation and on top of every pile of group of whatever people there is, which is clearly, I'm sure it's not impossible, but I'm yet to come across one single person that would have accomplished that, so it's highly unlikely, not very realistic either. However, here, for whatever reason, they are simply raised this way. Now, this manifests itself in very weird ways, such as that people here are extremely selfish, and I have to say this without actually having any bad feelings. They just don't really think too much. They are not very considerate for the others. They just go. They just do their own things. Me first, and that's basically it. So you will see a whole lot of car accidents, for example, that arise from ridiculous situations whereby you will just scratch your head and just ask yourself, where's common sense? Well, there's none. Which basically leads us up to our next point. Common sense. As you may know it or may not, I mean, let's face it, some people have more of it, some people have virtually none of that. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is here, it's just non-existent. There are certain things that you will have to get used to which are just absolutely ridiculous, shocking. And I'm not going to bother you with the examples, but just get ready for that this is a very, very different place with a completely different mindset. If you don't go with the flow, trust me, it will be very, very difficult. So there will be a lot of times when you will be speechless and just helpless in a way, because it's just so different the way locals do things. It's just, no. I have to say, most of the times, I personally don't agree with what they're doing, but at the same time, and this is the most important thing, I have no other choice but to accept it. I don't have to obviously do the same way, but I have to accept the way they are and respect the way they are. The other option is, of course, is just leaving and moving on, going somewhere else, going home, going to another country and gamble, see if there's a better place. But basically, if you decided to come here, this is one of those things that you will just have to accept and respect. Otherwise, your final goal, that is to become a doctor in the future, will simply not happen, or at least not here at this university in this city. One of my favorite points, and this leads us off to the next one, is that freedom, that sense of freedom when it comes to talking about money. Where I'm from, it's not a common thing for people to discuss how much money they have, how much money they earn. Here, however, it's just one of those things. Chinese people love money in general, and of course, I suppose that's true for everyone to a certain extent. But here, it's just so openly the case that unless you've had previous experiences with that, you will just be shocked. So just to give you an example, it wouldn't be a surprising thing to ask one of your newly found local friends to go to the bank with you, and whilst you're doing your official paperwork, they would be standing, looking over your shoulder, asking how much money you have, and so on and so on. It's just so open. So much so that there is a certain way of sending money in an electronic way. We call that little red pockets, or hongbaos as the locals would call that. You will learn this comes partly from their culture, but of course times are moving on. Nobody really goes around handing out envelopes to each other because we just don't meet these days. That's what the world comes to. I'm talking to you, looking into my phone, one of the most surreal experiences. Anyway, you get my point. Still, somehow I managed to connect with all of you. I would prefer to have you around. Now that's actually not the case. Some of you perhaps, but definitely not all of you, sorry. I've got much love for you, but no way. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is here as well, obviously, times have changed. Everything is more up to date now, modernized. Everything is happening through our phones and tablets and computers. And so people actually spend money on each other by giving away money. It's one of the things that you will just have to get used to. We will have an upcoming vlog on local apps that are being used, and so we will talk you through all these things and such. So if it doesn't really make a lot of sense to you right now, don't worry, it will once you watch that vlog. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that do not be surprised if they will openly ask you how much money you have, how much your shoes cost, how much you're renting your apartment for, how much your mom and dad earn, how much money you have in general in your bank. Especially as a foreign person, many of the locals assume that you're a millionaire. That's just it. So obviously you will have to deal with that. Now, up next is how the people of Changchun look at us foreign people. Once you get here, you will, unless you're already one of these rock stars or Instagram celebrities, you will be treated like one. And that's the truth. Wherever you go, people will shove their phones in your face. People will try to somehow talk to you, let me practice my English with you, or hey, let's make friends, and these kind of things. Now, first, obviously it's all new, the environment's new, everything is new about this place, so maybe you enjoy it, maybe you don't really feel like it's getting a bit too much, but trust me, even the most attention-seeking person in the world would have enough of this, in my opinion. So local people are so in your face that you will have to restrain yourself from actually getting physical at times. They don't have a sense of leaving you alone. I don't think that they care enough, but I also don't believe that they are doing this because they want to piss us off. And so do not be surprised if or when you come here, you will have people following you around, trying to take photos of you, even though you clearly can see that they are doing that. It's very annoying, but hey, again, what can you do? So, if you can't beat them, join them. A lot of us simply take our phones out or cameras out and shove it in their faces. Suddenly, the game has changed, and most of the times, they just run away. There are many cool people. They could come up to you, ask you very politely if it's okay to take a photo or just say hello. And as I said, every now and then I'm in the mood to just talk to them anyway, no issues there. However, I personally really hate it, and most of my friends also really don't like it when people just bother us in general. This kind of makes us feel like being in a zoo, basically. And this is, I know I said this was gonna be the last point, but I've just realized there is something I haven't talked about yet. But this will be my last point. This is an important one. The locals openly prefer white people. Not just people with lighter skin tone, but white people. And if you are not one of them, you will clearly come across this. Some people believe that the locals are racist, and I am pretty sure that there are some. I have never met one. However, I've come across plenty that were extremely ignorant. And so if you are not a white person, you may experience these kind of incidents in a way that may not aid towards your overall happiness and well-being here in Changchun. I wouldn't say that it's worse than in some other countries, and as I said, they never really openly say anything too bad. For example, if there's a job advertisement, they will openly ask for a white person. This apparently comes from the very fact that, historically speaking, the whiter you were back in the day here in China, the higher your socio-economic status was, or was thought to be at least. And so for that reason, they look at white-skinned people as superior, which in my opinion is, well, it's just bullshit, but it is what it is. So, I just want to tell you that this is something that you will have to deal with. Now, I personally have never had any major issues, and that's the truth. But I know plenty of my mates have. And so for that reason, I cannot say whether it's black or white. But one final point that I would like to share with you is this. Obviously, I am who I am, and I'm talking to you. I'm telling you my experience and the way I see things. It's clearly not the same same as everybody else. So don't just take my word. If you have friends here, or if you can access other people's websites, videos, blogs, and so on and so on, because clearly there are hundreds of thousands of international students across the country. Try to get as informed as possible. But of course, we're here to give you another perspective from our angle, as in that of the JOU-NBCM team. Overall, however, I have to say that it's a very awesome place, or it can be an awesome place to live. And the people can also be really nice. But it's the same everywhere. As long as you are surrounded by the right type of people, you should be just fine. Same here. Now, that road to find these people may be, well, not that straightforward, but you can get there. And once you are around these people here, whether it's the Chinese community or other foreign people, you should do just fine. So I don't want you to suddenly think, oh, that's it, I'm done with these guys, without actually knowing them. There are very annoying people, and there are very nice people. In my opinion, it sounds just like anywhere else in the world. So, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video as well. We really appreciate every one of you. It's actually an amazing thing to see how many people have watched our videos, considering that my mate Sharuk and I just started off doing this because we wanted to just create something, and here we are. So thank you so much. Anyway, hit that like button, subscribe if you aren't already, and we'll see you in one of the next vlog videos.